Hello everyone, welcome to our world of stories. Today, I bring you a chilling real-life horror story that took place in a small town in Ohio. If you have any similar experiences or stories, feel free to share them with us. Now, let's dive into the tale of Emily Thompson and the restless spirit that changed her family's life forever. Maplewood, Ohio, was the kind of town where everyone knew each other, and life moved at a comfortable, predictable pace. Nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, Maplewood was picturesque, with its charming main street, old-fashioned diners, and tightly knit community. The town was small enough that the arrival of new residents was always a topic of conversation, yet large enough to offer all the conveniences of modern living. Emily Thompson was a standout in this serene setting. At 17, she was the epitome of diligence and kindness. Her parents, David and Laura Thompson, had moved to Maplewood 5 years earlier, seeking a quieter life after David took a job as a manager at the local manufacturing plant. They had 2 sons, Ryan, 19, and Ethan, 15, who were both active in school and community activities. Emily, the youngest, was not just academically gifted, but also involved in various extracurricular activities, from the school newspaper to volunteering at the local library. Emily's life was one of routine and purpose. Every morning, she woke up early to help her parents with household chores before attending Maplewood High School. After school, she worked part-time at the Maplewood Public Library, a job she cherished for its calm environment and the endless possibilities of books and stories. One summer, Maplewood welcomed a new family, the Millers, who had moved from a bustling city in California. The Miller family consisted of Richard, a software engineer, his wife, Karen, a nurse, and their only child, Jake, a 17-year-old high school senior. Jake was the new kid in town, and his arrival stirred curiosity among the locals. Unlike the rest of the Millers, Jake was more reserved, often keeping to himself, which only added to the town's intrigue about him. Emily first met Jake during a community event held at the Maplewood Community Center. The event was a welcome party for new residents, complete with local food, games, and a small stage for performances. Emily was there volunteering, helping to set up decorations and coordinate activities. She noticed Jake immediately. He had an air of melancholy that contrasted sharply with the lively atmosphere. After the event, Emily found herself walking past the community center multiple times, hoping for another chance encounter. Their first real conversation happened unexpectedly at the library. Jake had come in to return some books and found Emily shelving new arrivals. "Hey, Jake, right?" Emily asked with a friendly smile. Jake looked up, slightly startled. "Yeah, that's me. Hi." They struck up a conversation about books, quickly discovering a shared love for mystery novels and classic literature. Over the next few weeks, their friendship blossomed. Emily found Jake to be a thoughtful and intelligent companion, while Jake appreciated Emily's warmth and understanding nature. As summer progressed, Maplewood began to prepare for its annual Harvest Festival, an event that brought the entire community together. Amidst the preparations, Emily and Jake spent more time together, often working late at the library or studying in the local park. One warm evening, Emily decided to walk home from her part-time job through the old Maplewood Bridge, a scenic spot that offered a quiet retreat with views of the river below. The bridge, a wooden structure built over a century ago, was a favorite spot for locals to enjoy sunsets and quiet moments of reflection. On that particular night, as Emily approached the bridge, she noticed Jake standing alone, staring into the water with a troubled expression. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of the river created a soothing backdrop. "Hey, Jake," Emily called softly, approaching him. "Everything okay?" Jake turned to her, his eyes reflecting a deep sadness. "Hey, Emily, just needed some fresh air." They stood in silence for a few moments, the weight of unspoken emotions hanging between them. "Want to talk about it?" Emily offered gently. Jake hesitated, then nodded. It's just been a tough year. Moving here, trying to fit in. Sometimes it feels like I'm invisible. Emily placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You're not invisible, Jake. You're here now, and you have friends. Jake smiled weakly. Thanks, Emily. It means a lot. As they continued talking, the night grew darker, and the fog began to settle over the river. The serene atmosphere took on an eerie quality, making the surroundings feel almost otherworldly. They talked until the moon was high in the sky, sharing their dreams, fears, and the challenges they faced. Unbeknownst to them, fate was about to intertwine their lives in ways they could never have imagined. 2 weeks after that poignant conversation on the bridge, Jake disappeared without a trace. It was a quiet Monday morning when his absence was noticed. He hadn't shown up for school, and his parents, Karen and Richard, were concerned when calls and messages went unanswered. The police were notified, and a search was launched. Neighbors organized search parties, combing through the dense forests and along the riverbanks. The community was on edge, whispering theories and praying for Jake's safe return. Days turned into weeks, but there was no sign of Jake. His car was found abandoned near the old Maplewood Bridge, but there was no evidence of what had happened to him. The police investigation yielded few leads, and slowly, hope began to wane. Emily was devastated by Jake's disappearance. She couldn't understand what had happened to her friend, especially after their heartfelt conversation just weeks before. The night of his disappearance, she had felt a strange unease, a sense that something was terribly wrong, but she couldn't have foreseen the horror that was about to unfold. As the days passed, strange occurrences began to plague the Thompson family. It started subtly. Objects moved slightly from their places, shadows lingered longer than they should, and cold spots emerged in various rooms of the house. At first, the family dismissed these incidents as mere coincidences or the result of the stress caused by Jake's disappearance. However, the disturbances grew more intense. Ryan, Emily's older brother, began hearing whispers late at night, voices that seemed to come from nowhere. He tried to ignore them, attributing them to his imagination, but the sounds persisted, growing louder and more urgent. Ethan, the youngest, reported seeing fleeting shadows darting across his bedroom walls. Laura, their mother, noticed that the family's beloved dog, Max, became unusually restless, often growling at empty corners of the house. Emily, being sensitive and empathetic, felt a deep unease. She couldn't shake the feeling that Jake's spirit was somehow connected to the disturbances. Determined to find answers, she began researching local legends and ghost stories tied to Maplewood, hoping to uncover any information that might explain the supernatural events. Her research led her to the town's historical society, where she discovered that the old Maplewood Bridge had a dark history. Decades earlier, a young man named Thomas Hayes had disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and his body was never found. Some locals believed that Thomas's spirit lingered near the bridge, unable to move on due to unresolved issues. This revelation sent chills down Emily's spine. Could Jake's disappearance be connected to the bridge's tragic past? The parallels were unsettling, and Emily felt a growing sense of urgency to uncover the truth. One evening, Emily was at the library after her shift, poring over old newspapers and records to find any information about Thomas Hayes. As she flipped through the brittle pages, she stumbled upon an article that detailed Thomas's disappearance. The article mentioned that Thomas had been a promising student, much like Jake, and that his sudden vanishing had left the community in shock. As Emily read, she noticed the date of Thomas's disappearance coincided with the annual Harvest Festival. According to local lore, the festival was believed to honor the spirits of those who couldn't find peace, offering them a chance to move on. A sense of foreboding washed over Emily. If Thomas's spirit was indeed restless, and if Jake's disappearance mirrored his, there might be a connection that needed to be addressed. Determined to help Jake's spirit find peace, Emily decided to delve deeper into the historical events surrounding the bridge. She reached out to Mrs. Wilson, the town's spiritual advisor, known for her knowledge of local folklore and her ability to communicate with spirits. Mrs. Wilson was an elderly woman with a gentle demeanor and a wealth of knowledge about Maplewood's history and spiritual practices. Her home was a cozy cottage filled with books on various spiritual traditions, crystals, and artifacts collected over the years. Emily explained the strange occurrences her family was experiencing and the eerie similarities between Jake's disappearance and Thomas Hayes's case. Mrs. Wilson listened attentively, her expression thoughtful. "It sounds like Jake's spirit is tied to the bridge in a similar way to Thomas's," Mrs. Wilson mused. "Unresolved emotions, perhaps a longing for closure or unfinished business. To help Jake, we need to understand what keeps his spirit bound here." She suggested performing a seance to communicate directly with Jake's spirit. Emily was hesitant at first, unsure of what to expect, but her desperation to find answers outweighed her fear. That weekend, Mrs. Wilson led a small group, including Emily, Ryan, and Laura, in a seance at the Thompson household. The room was dimly lit, candles flickering softly, creating shadows that danced along the walls. The air felt thick with anticipation and unease. Mrs. Wilson began the seance, chanting softly in an ancient tongue, her voice steady and calm. The participants sat in a circle, holding hands, focusing their energy on connecting with Jake's spirit. After several minutes, the atmosphere changed. A cold breeze swept through the room, and the candles flickered violently before stabilizing. A heavy silence fell, broken only by the sound of distant whispers. Mrs. Wilson opened her eyes and spoke in a low, ethereal voice. "Jake, can you hear us?" There was no immediate response, but the room felt charged with energy. Emily held her breath, hoping for any sign of communication. After a tense moment, a soft voice echoed in the room. "Help me," the group gasped, the reality of the situation sinking in. Mrs. Wilson nodded solemnly. "Jake, what do you need to move on?" Emily stepped forward, her voice trembling slightly. "Jake, we're here to help you. Tell us what happened." There was a pause before Jake's spirit spoke again. "I didn't mean to leave. I was scared. I couldn't find my way back." Emily's heart ached with sympathy. "Jake, we're going to find you. We're going to help you." The seance continued, with Mrs. Wilson guiding Jake's spirit to reveal more details about his disappearance. It became clear that Jake had been involved in something deeper than a mere disappearance, a connection to unresolved emotions and a tragic accident. Through the seance, it was revealed that Jake had been grappling with severe anxiety and depression since moving to Maplewood. The pressure to fit in and the isolation had taken a toll on him, culminating in a decision to escape his pain by venturing onto the old Maplewood Bridge late one night. That night, a violent storm had erupted, making the bridge treacherous. Jake had attempted to return home, but had slipped, falling into the river below. His body was never recovered, leaving his spirit restless and bound to the bridge. Furthermore, the spirit of Thomas Hayes had been lingering for years, unable to move on due to his own unresolved issues. The proximity of their spirits created an intense energy that manifested in the strange occurrences at the Thompson household. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Mrs. Wilson explained that a ritual needed to be performed to help Jake's spirit find peace. This ritual would involve acknowledging his pain, providing closure, and ensuring that his spirit could finally move on. Emily and her family were determined to help Jake. Mrs. Wilson outlined the steps for the ritual, emphasizing the importance of sincerity and respect. "We need to honor Jake's memory and acknowledge his suffering," Mrs. Wilson explained. "The ritual will take place on the bridge where he lost his life. It's crucial that we perform this under the right conditions to ensure Jake's spirit is appeased." The family prepared diligently. They gathered candles, photographs of Jake, and personal items that represented his life and friendships. Emily felt a mix of fear and hope, knowing that this ritual was the only way to help her friend find peace. The night of the Harvest Festival coincided with the planned ritual, adding a layer of significance to the event. The festival was the pinnacle of Maplewood's annual celebrations, bringing together residents for a night of food, music, and community bonding. As the festival commenced, Emily and Mrs. Wilson began to set up near the old bridge, away from the bustling crowd. The bridge, illuminated by soft lanterns, stood as a solemn reminder of the town's history and the spirits that lingered. Emily's family joined her, bringing with them the items they had prepared. The atmosphere was tense, but filled with a sense of purpose. Mrs. Wilson led the group in prayers and chants, creating a protective circle around the bridge. The candles flickered as a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, adding an eerie ambience to the night. "Jake," Mrs. Wilson called softly, "we honor your memory and acknowledge your pain. Please find the peace you seek." The air grew colder, and the sound of rushing water echoed through the night. Emily held Jake's photograph close, tears welling up in her eyes. Suddenly, a faint glow appeared near the center of the bridge, growing brighter as the ritual progressed. The group watched in awe as the spirit of Jake materialized, his presence both ethereal and sorrowful. "Thank you," Jake's spirit whispered, his voice carrying the weight of his anguish. "I can finally move on." With those final words, the light enveloped Jake's spirit, dissipating into the night sky. A profound sense of peace settled over the bridge, and the strange disturbances at the Thompson household ceased immediately. In the days that followed, the Thompson family noticed a significant change. The cold spots had vanished, objects no longer moved on their own, and the whispers had ceased. Ryan and Ethan felt a renewed sense of calm, and even Max, the family dog, seemed more at ease. Maplewood began to return to its usual rhythm, the Harvest Festival night becoming a pivotal moment in the town's history. Emily felt a deep sense of accomplishment and relief, knowing that she had helped Jake find the peace he had been seeking. However, the experience left a lasting impact on her. Emily became more introspective, her empathy for others deepened by her connection with Jake's spirit. She continued her studies with renewed vigor, inspired by the resilience and strength she witnessed in her family and community. Despite the resolution of Jake's spirit, the events had left an indelible mark on Maplewood. The town's history now included the story of Emily Thompson and the ritual that brought peace to two restless souls. Occasionally, residents would share tales of the night when the Harvest Festival merged with the spiritual realm, creating a memory that would be passed down through generations. The old Maplewood Bridge became a symbol of both tragedy and healing, a place where the community came together to honor and remember. Emily, now a young adult, often reflected on that summer, recognizing the profound lessons it had taught her about love, loss, and the unseen forces that shape our lives. She pursued a career in counseling, driven by her desire to help others navigate their own struggles, just as she had helped Jake. Years passed, and Maplewood continued to thrive. The town embraced its rich history while looking forward to the future. Emily married her high school sweetheart, Daniel, and together they built a family rooted in love and understanding. Their children grew up hearing the stories of Maplewood's past, including the legend of Jake and Thomas. While some dismissed it as mere folklore, others believed in the lingering presence of spirits, a testament to the town's unique blend of reality and the supernatural. Emily remained close to Mrs. Wilson, who had become a cherished friend and mentor. The spiritual advisor continued to guide the community, helping those who sought her wisdom and support. One crisp autumn evening, as Emily walked her children to the park, she noticed a young boy standing alone near the old Maplewood Bridge. He seemed lost, his eyes filled with uncertainty. "Hey there," Emily greeted gently. "Are you okay?" The boy looked up, a faint smile on his face. "I'm looking for my way home," Emily knelt down, offering a reassuring smile. "Let me help you. What's your name?" "Jake," the boy replied softly. A chill ran down Emily's spine, but she smiled warmly. "It's nice to meet you, Jake. Let's get you home." As they walked away, Emily glanced back at the bridge, a sense of closure washing over her. The spirits that once haunted Maplewood had found peace, and the town had moved forward, embracing both its history and its future. Emily's encounter with the boy named Jake was a poignant reminder of the town's journey. It signified the end of an era of unrest and the beginning of a new chapter filled with hope and unity. Maplewood continued to honor its past while fostering a community that valued empathy, understanding, and resilience. The annual Harvest Festival remained a cherished tradition, now imbued with deeper meaning and a sense of spiritual connection. Emily's story became an integral part of Maplewood's legacy, inspiring others to reach out, seek understanding, and help those in need. Her journey from a diligent student to a compassionate counselor was a testament to the power of love and the importance of finding peace amidst turmoil. Years later, Emily stood on the Maplewood Bridge, now a beacon of tranquility and remembrance. The sun was setting, casting a golden way over the river below. She watched as families and friends gathered, lighting candles and sharing stories of loved ones lost and found. As the wind rustled the leaves and the soft sounds of laughter filled the air, Emily felt a profound sense of gratitude. She had played a part in bringing peace to the restless spirits and had helped her community heal. Her phone buzzed with a message from her daughter, Lily, inviting her to a storytelling event at the library. Emily smiled, knowing that the legacy of Maplewood stories would continue to inspire and comfort future generations. As she walked back to her family, Emily felt the echoes of unfinished love dissolve into the night, replaced by the harmonious melodies of a community united by compassion and understanding. Thank you for listening to Emily Thompson's story. Sometimes, the echoes of unfinished love can linger, seeking closure and peace. Maplewood's tale is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, love and understanding can guide us toward healing. If you enjoyed this tale, please leave a comment below and subscribe to our channel for more real ghost stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep believing. Emily's story is a testament to the enduring power of empathy and the profound impact one person can have on an entire community. By addressing the unresolved emotions of a lost soul, she not only brought peace to Jake, but also strengthened the bonds within Maplewood. The town's ability to come together in the face of tragedy showcases the resilience of the human spirit and the belief that love can transcend even the boundaries between life and death. Maplewood's legacy lives on, a beacon of hope and unity, where stories are shared, memories are cherished, and the unseen connections between individuals are honored. Emily's journey from a compassionate student to a beloved counselor serves as an inspiration, reminding us all of the importance of reaching out, understanding one another, and finding peace amidst life's uncertainties.